Good morning. Check this out. Expo ended yesterday and I left Flagstaff this morning. Once we got out of the national forest surrounding Flagstaff, the landscape started opening up, starting with this expansive sort of half desert, half prairie sort of area, and then moving into some landscapes that started looking like what I think about when I think about the Southwest. This is just unlike anything I've ever seen before in my entire life. Every place I look is astonishing, and I've really only just started the day. I'm already satisfied. I mean, come on, look at this. I'm not even to like where I was trying to get to, and it's just every bit of the drive is just amazing scene after amazing scene. Oh, look at this. Many of these spots really aren't off the beaten path. They're right on sort of a touristy route, and you may have seen them before. Little side trip number one to see a couple of these interesting rocks and features down in here. I thought this was going to be a quick little side trip on BLM land. It turns out this is actually part of the national park system, this particular area. You actually have to pay to be in this area, and the only option is a from 1 day to 1 week private vehicle pass, which was $30. And I was expecting to be in here for maybe an hour. But you know, how often do I get down to this area? So I coughed it up, bought the pass, and already it's just unbelievably gorgeous. Since I'm not gonna see the Grand Canyon, this is getting me still some really interesting canyon-y sort of vistas. There is a hike that goes up that canyon wall over there, and I thought maybe about doing just a part of it just to get elevated, get a little more view, and since I paid the fee to be in this area. But it's late morning, it's already really hot outside. After a couple of cool rainy days in Flagstaff, I'm not ready to start sweating like that again.
It's mid-morning on a Monday in late September, and I admit, I'm surprised by how many people are out here. I guess we are close to the Grand Canyon, and I may not be the only one wandering around the area after Expo.
This is the Colorado River. It flows down into what becomes the Grand Canyon.
At all moments, in every direction I look, there's interesting scenery to take in. While we have cliffs and canyons and treeless rocky areas in Oregon, this is still just a whole other world down here. The camera doesn't come close to capturing the immense scale of these features or do justice to the intense, saturated color of the rock. And every turn in the road reveals an incredible new vista to take in.
Well, everything you've just seen was within that area on that little dead-end road that I paid $30 to go down. Was it worth it? Absolutely. That was amazing.
I've logged some more highway miles, generally moving mostly north or west, but the dirt roads across these vast tracts of BLM land are definitely calling my name.
Well, too bad it's not time to camp. This is about as epic as campsites get.
So I guess that's why they call that the Vermilion Cliffs. They are really, really red. Man, I have never seen anything quite like that. It just makes this long, long ongoing cliff. And it actually, from what I can tell, it seems to be like a plateau or a mesa or whatever you would call that. And that area up there is the Vermilion Cliffs National Monument, I think it is called. I'm currently sort of wrapping my way around that great big mesa or plateau, but I have a possible side trip planned that will take us up on top of it to maybe some interesting geological features. All right, this is pretty brutal washboarding road. I think I'm going to be on dirt for a lot of miles now, possibly even the rest of the day as the afternoon is progressing. So I'm going to go ahead and find a spot to peer down.
This road is actually part of my route home to Oregon, moving me north towards Utah. But first, I'm going to branch off on a quick side trip out to what looks to be an intriguing area within the National Monument.
So I'm now working my way up onto that sort of plateau or mesa of the Vermilion Cliffs National Monument. I can see now on my mapping that what looked like a fairly small little side trip is actually didn't quite have a sense of scale when I was planning that out. Judging by just how long I've been on this little road, the spot that I had marked for trying to get to is it's going to take a while.
This is not my destination. I'm just checking out what looks to be a nice campsite.
Man, I keep finding really cool campsites way too early to camp. I hope I luck out as well this evening when I'm actually ready to stop and camp.
Alright, let's get back on the trail. The afternoon is slipping away from me, and I've still got quite a ways to go for this little side trip.
It's really hard to tell when you scout out areas on satellite imagery. Sometimes you can get a sense of the topography and get a sense that there's some, you know, rock formations just by like judging shadows and stuff. But it's really hard to judge what a road is going to be like. Since this is a national, oh my, since this is a national monument in a fairly touristy area, I mean, we're not far from the Grand Canyon at all. I assume that all the roads going through here would have a certain sort of minimum level of accessibility. I really didn't expect to run into this kind of driving.
not a problem.
Well, the gate was a non-issue, but I was not expecting this.
That was the way I planned to go. The blue line is the route I was planning up to my destination, and then I was going to come back out and take this other route to go out, and we're very close to it there. So hopefully I can jog up to that. It looks like there's a little road there.
Just check out this vista that I'm enjoying along this drive. It's just so crazy.
Alright, it is much later in the afternoon than I expected, but I've come this far. I'm definitely going to make the hike out to the spot I'm trying to get to.
Oh, that wasn't even really a significant hike at all. It was really just a short walk. Definitely worth it. Whoa.
Longtime followers of my channel won't be surprised to find my trek across the Southwest is gravitating around geological oddities.
Look at the crazy patterns in this rocks. It's like it was tiled. This is so cool. It's like a one-stop shop for all kinds of crazy rock formations. There's the swirly red stuff here. That weird orange and white twisty thing over there. And I don't even know what to call these over here. Bummer the sun's behind the clouds. I bet this area would really pop in the sunlight. Not doing it justice. I'm sorry. It's really, really super, super cool, and it just goes on in every direction.
Definitely some weather coming in over there. Definitely raining off in the, whatever that is, west-ish. Looks like it's gonna get dark sooner than I thought it would get dark, just because the sun has disappeared behind all those dark clouds. So
I'm gonna hit the road and start looking for someplace to camp, I think.
Hoped to find a campsite before dark today, but I had no idea I would end up spending so much time out at that sort of rock formation. I thought I'd get there, walk around for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, getting some shots, and then back on the road. Come on. Oh, the sand. Oh. But I was there for an hour, and then I had to keep stopping to shoot the sunset. Now there's lightning in the distance there. It's just been an epic day from beginning to end here. I thought I would be all the way up into Utah by tonight, but that's all right. It's all right. I'll find a campsite just here in the Vermilion Cliffs National Monument.
I have set up camp. I'm not sure exactly where because it got dark on me.
Good morning. No clouds, no rain. Last night, right before I went to bed, the wind picked up quite a bit. It was sort of pushing the clouds out, the rain had stopped, so I went ahead and took the awning down last night so that I wouldn't have to listen to it in the rain, and one less thing to deal with this morning. And we've got a beautiful morning this morning. Just a little bit chilly, but surprisingly warm for 6 a.m. Oh, there are some rocks over there. So it turns out this is actually a protected area. I didn't know that. I didn't even know this place had a name. I saw some rocks when I was planning my route and thought, oh, maybe there's something interesting there. So it turns out that you have to have a permit from the BLM to hike into there. Apparently there are some delicate sandstone formations that can get broken easily. It sounds like they're trying to limit the number of people who are walking around in there. So we will just enjoy it from the road. Or maybe from the air. My Arizona adventure has come to an end, and as I enter Utah, I find myself in Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. I'll be getting on the highway shortly to log some miles towards home, but I do have a few side trips planned for today.
Well, after a brief stint on the highway, I'm back off on another gravel road. This is another dead end, just out and back. Some sort of cool geological features out here to check out, I think. I think it's only about 5 miles, so easy little side trip. It just astonishes me how every place I've been, everywhere you look in every direction, there's something awesome to see. I mean, maybe if you live down here, this just becomes, you know, commonplace and normal and you don't even think about it. But this is so different from the Pacific Northwest. Every bit of this trip so far has exceeded my expectations. I'm so glad I did this.
Look at this craziness. Another great place to camp at a moment when I don't need a campsite. Wow, this one actually has water in it. Almost all of the sort of creek beds and riverbeds that I've seen have been dry.
I've stumbled upon what appears to be a very old cemetery. The names appear to have eroded right off the stones, but each stone is adorned with offerings of coins and rocks.
Back on the paved highway again for a bit. So I'm back off pavement for a little bit. I don't even know if it's going to be anything at all. So when I was sort of scouting my route for interesting spots I might want to stop, I noticed this one little thing, little geological oddity, I think. It's not too far off the highway, and so I'm gonna go take a look. This is pretty much all BLM land I've been on.
The smooth gravel roads across the flat desert have given way to a steep, rocky trail up a hillside. Looks like it'll be slow going for a while.
Kind of a cool scrubby little forest. All the trees are maybe 10, 12 feet tall at most. Okay, so I guess I wasn't wrong. It is a thing. Holy cow. It's way more of a thing than I thought it was. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at this.
I know it's hard to judge the scale of this hole, but here's a view from the far side. You can see how it dwarfs the frontier over there.
Well, just like every other side trip I've taken, it's taken way longer than I expected. This time, because I had no idea the trail was going to be so gnarly getting up here. But like all the other side trips I've taken, 100% worth the time. That was crazy. I never really did get eyes on the true bottom of the hole. I think I was pretty close there with one of the camera shots. I would have liked to have flown the drone over that. That would have given you a much better sense of what we were dealing with there. But it was super windy. We're up at the top of some kind of ridge line, and the wind was just crazy. And I couldn't chance it. I couldn't chance having the drone go down in there because there's no way down in there. None. No way. I walked all the way around, and I looked at all the walls. There's nothing. It was really cool, but it also kind of freaky.
It's midday, and I'm making good progress via small 2-lane highways, but an unusual looking hillside has caught my eye, and a sandy road leading that direction has lured me off my route on an unplanned side trip. The trail actually crosses a corner of this rock formation and continues on into the desert, but this is really as far as I need to go.
I don't know if the camera is doing this any justice at all. The swirls and undulations are just incredible. It's like someone came in here with a pastry knife and was like icing a cake with 2 different colors of icing. It's so swirly. Again, another pretty cool place to make camp for the night, right down here at the base of this incredible formation. But once again, it's not time to make camp. I need to log more miles today. But what a cool, random, unexpected discovery.
After another hour on the highway, I've arrived at my next dirt road side trip. It's only about a 5-mile drive out to my point of interest, so I'm not expecting this one to take too long.
So I'm not going to do much filming of the drive up to my destination here. You will recognize the spot when I get there, I'm sure. It's sort of a overlander or off-roader mecca. And I want to make sure I get up in there in time to still have some daylight hours to get some shots and then find some place to camp. Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. Alright, I think we're gonna kick it down into 4 level.
Again, the camera of course doesn't capture how rough and slow this road is. While navigating this rocky trail is a bit of work, the scenery is entirely enjoyable.
On the map, this looks like such a short little jaunt compared to everything I've been doing, but I had no idea it was going to take this long. I'm not sure there's going to be any sun when I get there. Hopefully I can camp nearby and there'll be some sun there in the morning.
If you hadn't already guessed, yes, I've driven out to Tokerville Falls. This unique waterfall tumbles down multiple shelves of rock to spill into a deep pool below before the creek continues its course through this desert valley. What makes this particular waterfall such a magnet for off-road enthusiasts is that this road I'm on crosses the creek right here atop the falls. The road gets even gnarlier as it follows the creek. There are some campsites up by the falls, but there are already a few rigs camped in that area, so I'm going to see if I can find a spot a little further downstream. This will do nicely.
I don't have much of a sweet tooth, and I pretty much never bring anything along on my camping trips like cookies or any sort of dessert stuff at all. But at the grocery store in Flagstaff, they had passion fruit. Now this is something that is virtually unseen in Eugene, and I absolutely love them. It is simply the most amazing tasting fruit I've ever sampled. There's just an intensity of flavor that no other fruit can match. That one tiny little fruit was like $3.50, but that's a rare treat for me. Totally worth it.
No, I didn't leave my coffee cup behind. That's just a survey marker that BLM has placed.
Coming up on some of these spots, the drop off is so big that I can't even see where I need to go.
Pavement has never felt so good.
It's not long, however, until I'm right back off the highway and headed up onto some BLM land in the Sand Hollow area.
I don't have a particular sort of goal or destination out here. I just kind of wanted to mess around out in this sort of red sand area where we sometimes see Matt's Offroad Recovery get people out of trouble. Down there is Sand Hollow State Park, where you sometimes see them actually drive in and get people who are down along the lake. Good thing I brought my flag.
The sand is definitely deep and soft, and I can feel how easy it would be to get bogged in this stuff. It's not even that warm today. I understand it can get even softer and fluffier on truly hot days. I did air way down before getting out here on these sandy trails, and the truck seems to be handling it fairly well. The question remains, will I need to make a call?
have to admit, this is a little bit sort of more recreational off-roading than overlanding.
I think I see them up there. Yeah, they were that way.
Man, that was a big group. Okay, what was I saying? Once I got out here and started messing around, I realized I was having an awful lot of fun driving around in the sand, a little bit of rock crawly kind of stuff. Part of this was definitely just sort of YouTube tourism. I watched Matt's Offroad Recovery, and I just wanted to come drive around in this area where I've seen them recover so many stuck vehicles, and also just to kind of confirm to myself that I could do it without getting stuck.
I'm airing up and removing my flag. Some ATV riders have seen my hood up and very nicely stopped to ask if all was well. Turns out, Andy is originally from Oregon. I've ended up pulling out my tools to help them with a minor issue. Well, look who I've rolled up on in a Maverick gas station.
I'm sure most of my subscribers also watch you guys, so they're going to be thrilled
What's your
to
channel?
see you. Softroading the West is called.
Softroading. We're heading out on the rescue straight that way. So.
Cool, awesome.
What was your name?
Donald.
Donald. Good to meet you, Donald.
Nice to meet you, Matt. That was really a fun morning. The rest of the day is pretty much just going to be highway driving, just trying to log some miles this afternoon, actually start truly working my way back towards Eugene. Okay, well, I assumed these rural highways were going to be paved. I just ran out of pavement. Leaving Utah. Yeah, I think we just crossed into Nevada. This is a pretty smooth gravel road. I can't complain about this. This is not a bad way to log some miles. I'd rather do this and move a little more slowly than the rush intensity of the interstate.
I'm driving through a remote BLM area, but it is rangeland, and I'm encountering quite a bit of cattle rancher traffic out here.
As it happens, with not too much of a detour, there's what I think looks like it could be a pretty interesting historical site out here.
As usual, the wild horses are already galloping away before I can get to my camera, but at least the dash cam caught them briefly.
These are charcoal kilns, and they date to the 1870s. The charcoal produced was used for silver mills in Nevada. Smelting silver apparently requires lots of heat, and charcoal actually ended up working better than just burning wood. These walls just look like they're put together with rocks and mud. These holes around the base of each kiln helped to regulate the airflow. The vent at the top would actually be plugged to slow and control the speed of combustion. Burning a stack of wood into charcoal would take about 30 days. These kilns were used from about the 1870s into the late 1890s, and I've just been standing here ever since.
I'm back on pavement, but I've realized I did have another point of interest flagged here in eastern Nevada. This is Cathedral Gorge State Park, which looks like it might be right up my alley.
This is so cool. So this is a state park. This was right on my way, and I had to pay an entrance fee. I don't plan to be here long. Famous last words every single time.
unusual rock formations are the result of millions of years of erosion acting on this relatively soft clay stone, forming these short but dramatic slot canyons in places. It doesn't even look real.
Oh, no way. No way. Oh my gosh. That is probably, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 stories. There are multiple sets of these little slots that wind down through this bizarre formation. It's getting skinnier. I'm having to step sideways, one leg in front of the other. One's even taller. Well, another stop that I thought would be 15 minutes, take a look, take some pictures, move on down the road. I've been here for at least an hour, but totally worth the time, totally worth the entry fee, even if it was just for an hour.
I just can't believe these vast valleys that just go on, surrounded by these crazy, craggy mountains all over the place, and it's almost all public land. I am really intrigued by Nevada. It doesn't quite have the immediate satisfaction of the red rock and all of the crazy rock formations in Arizona and Utah, but there's something fascinating about just the desolation. It's just nothing. It's just nothing as far as you can see. Well, it is getting dark, but it is only 7 o'clock, and I'm in a little valley between two sets of mountains, but I'm actually up at like almost 7,000 feet. It's really cold outside, so I have no particular desire to make camp and stand around outside in the cold. So I'm gonna log another hour at least, maybe another 2 hours, and then just poke up a random BLM road and cook a quick dinner and sleep for the night.
Okay, it is about 9:30, probably about 9 o'clock. I started looking for some place to pull off, to find a place to camp. Took a random road up some BLM land, and which actually eventually ran into national forest land, so I got out of the sort of open sagebrush desert down by the highway and found myself up in some trees. Found a little campsite. There's not one but 2 fire rings, but it is cold. We're at about 6,600 feet. What's funny is that out of all of this trip, yesterday, last night, was the warmest night that I've had. When I was up at Tokerville Falls, it was so hot and sweaty, I was able to like get into a river to wash off. And then the very next night, here I am, and it is cold. Well, it's not particularly elegant, but it's hot and it's tasty.
Good morning. Well, I was not wrong. It was cold last night. I left a little cup of water out to see if it might get icy, and it is it's frozen solid. The truck thermometer says 24 degrees. Yeah, that's icy. All right, well, I'm not gonna dilly-dally around here. I'm gonna get down the road and warm up a little bit, and then I'll stop someplace to make coffee and breakfast. I'm just not quite prepared for this level of cold.
Quick little random side road exploration.
This is a completely unplanned little side trip. I keep seeing all these dirt roads heading off across valley floors to the surrounding mountains, and I finally just can't help myself. I need to poke up at least one of them. Turns out, this one just loops back without winding up into the hills, but it's probably for the best that I make my way back to the highway. Exploring all these craggy mountains will have to wait for a future trip.
Well, it is now Thursday afternoon, and I am in northwest Nevada. I'm probably about a good solid day's drive from Eugene. So this is my last day to kind of play, and I'm gonna play. Let me show you where I'm at.
This is the Black Rock Desert. Now I know you've seen me at the Overland Desert a number of times, which is a big flat playa like this. So what makes this different? Well, for one, it's bigger. It's much, much bigger. The Overland Desert is about 5 miles across, I think, and maybe 11, 12 miles long. This playa is, I don't even remember. I'll have to put it on the screen. It's a lot bigger. It's surrounded by these interesting Nevada mountains. I got here pretty early in the afternoon, and I'm glad because I wanted to have the time to just explore. It's so vast. I want to be able to just drive and check out whatever seems interesting. So far I've driven about 30 miles out here. Still haven't even got across. Why are playas so intriguing to drive on? I don't know, I think there's a number of reasons.
One is, I think, just the absolute freedom. You can just go anywhere, point your vehicle in any direction and go, as long as it's not, you know, wet and muddy, because then you're not going anywhere. But, you know, it's like there's all of this landscape, this scenery around me, and let's say I want to explore those sand dunes right over there. All I got to do is turn and drive right to them. Let's say I want to explore that mountain right there, or at least the base of it. I don't have to find a road. I don't have to worry about whether or not I can get there. I can just go.
Is this silly? Maybe this is silly, I don't know. I think it's fun. I think it's cool to explore a new area this way without having to mess around with roads.
Well, I always kind of felt like camping on the playa was maybe a little too Instagrammy, but you know what? It's pretty dang awesome. It's just gorgeous in every direction. The sunset was just colors changing all over the course of it, and I couldn't keep up with it with the cameras and the drone and everything else. But there is no wind. There is no wind. I just assumed it would be gusting across here like it does on the Alvar Desert. What an absolutely gorgeous night. This is definitely my favorite campsite of the entire trip. Morning. Last sunrise of this trip. Well, that's it. That is the end of this trip. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. From meeting so many amazing people at Expo, to seeing the spectacular wonders of northern Arizona and southwestern Utah, meeting Matt from Matt's Offroad Recovery, just taking a little time to explore just a really teeny tiny little corner of the Southwest. But we've reached the end of this one. It is time to air up and head home.